When it comes to Genesis 2, rat holes are everywhere. So we proudly present Top 10 All-Time Best Rat Holes on Genesis Part 2. This video is sponsored by My Servers Deluxe. Deluxe is a 3x server with 5x matching and 3x experience. Deluxe has 6-man tribes, ORP, new player protection, raid warning, and so much more. Here at Deluxe, we ensure that you have an amazing experience with lag-free servers. Servers are now live, link in the description. Coming at number 10, this can be found at 47.9 latitude and 13.1 longitude. And then here it is on the map. Now this can be found over on the left corner of the map, because as you know with Genesis 2, there's a good side of the map, then there's a bad side of the map. This is on the bad side. Now this rat hole can be found underneath this waterfall right here. So there's a first one and a second one. Make sure to go down to the second one that is directly on the water, and then swim right underneath. Right as you're swimming underneath, it'll take a few seconds to go under, but after you're in here, you are opened up to this massive rat hole. Now this rat hole has a ton of room for you to build. The only downside of it is that there's water in here, meaning that people can basically go underwater without being shot by any turrets. So a bit of a downside, but as long as you build some turrets underwater and actually get a proper setup, this will work for an amazing base. Coming at number 9, this can be found at 50.5 latitude and 11.9 longitude, and then here it is on the map. Now this can be found on the left side of the map. If you come over here to this location, you will see a nice little bridge along with a wall right here. On this wall, make sure to go up here, and then as you can see, there's a nice little opening right here. This opening opens up into a good sized rat hole. As you can see here, there's plenty of room for really anything that you want to fit in here. Just be careful with stuff like indie forges being built on here, because they are going to be poking through. So you might have to build that somewhere else, but it shouldn't be a big issue as there is a second rat hole that is actually pretty close to this one. So I'll let you guys try to find that one. But anyways, this would make for an amazing base spot. Coming at number 8, this can be found at 38.1 latitude and 19.2 longitude, and then here it is on the map. Now this can be found on the left side of the map. Now if you are a solo or a duo looking to really stay hidden, this makes for an amazing rat hole for you. Over here, you will find this nice little waterfall with 2 separate little waterfalls. On the right one, if you go back into the corner, there is a nice little cozy rat hole that is hidden behind here. So over here, it is a nice little crouch entrance. Now it's not the biggest rat hole, so like I said, if you're a solo or a duo maybe looking to hide away, it makes for a pretty good base spot as long as you build some defenses on the outside. Now the only downside is there is some water in here, but you can use that to your advantage, like maybe water breeding or something, up to you. Coming at number 7, this can be found at 74.9 latitude and 35.3 longitude, and then here it is on the map. So this one can also be found on the left side of the map, kind of towards the bottom. Now the reason why this one is at number 7 is because if you look at this, it is a ground rat hole. Now ground rat holes really are a lot harder to defend, so it is kind of farther back on the list here. However, it's still an amazing spot. As you can see on the inside, you have a ton of room and a ton of flat land. So if you're looking to build more of like a groundish kind of spot, so you're not like high up or like that you have to like fly up to it, so make for a really good spot for you. And this one is meant for a bit of a bigger tribe, so like a maybe 4 to 6 man tribe. So if you could do that, it'll make for a pretty good spot. Coming at number 6, this can be found at 50.6 latitude and 21.9 longitude. And then here it is on the map. Now this can be found on the left side of the map, kind of towards the middle. So kind of like one of our last rat holes, this one can be found in the ceiling. So come up here to the ceiling, and you will find a little opening right here. Now, it's a bit of a bigger opening, but it's still a little bit tricky to find because there's so many different things that look like this. But anyways, once you come inside, you are greeted with a nice, good-sized open area where you can easily put a massive turret wall to stop any players from coming in. Now over here, it does expand back here into the rat hole a little bit more, and you have a decent amount of room back here to really build anything that you want in here. It does also keep going this way and the other way, so you really have a ton of room, and you can even just kind of explore more of the little spots in here, but I just showed you the base spot of it. Coming at number 5, this can be found at 74.2 latitude and 35.7 longitude, and then here it is on the map. Now this can be found in the bottom left corner of the map, and this rat hole is actually one of my favorites. I've built on this one on many different servers, and it actually served me as a really good rat hole. As long as you know how to properly build in here, it'll make for an amazing spot. So this rat hole is pretty much invisible from the outside, so as long as you can build some kind of interior structure in here, like a nice little like L-shaped wall or something in here, I guarantee you nobody's gonna get in. I also, on one of my servers, I put a cliff platform on the outside and spammed that thing with turrets, and nobody ever touched me. So it made for an amazing rat hole with a lot of room. Coming at number 4, this can be found at 63.7 latitude and 29.7 longitude, and then here it is on the map. Now again, like most of these rat holes, this can be found on the left side of the map. Now coming over here, you are greeted with a lot of these really weird looking tentacle things. Now one of the tentacle things is actually a cave entrance. So coming in here, and you go up to the ceiling, up on the right, there is a rat hole up here. As you can see, it is a bit of a decently sized entrance, but once you come inside here, you're greeted with a nice little solo rat hole. So as long as you know how to really defend this spot, it'll make for a pretty amazing spot, because a lot of people don't really come in here, and you have a decent amount of room to build. However, a lot of this stuff you cannot build on, so you're going to have to use some cliff platforms, so it's going to be a bit of an expensive build if you're fine with that. Coming at number 3, this can be found at 59.1 latitude and 23.2 longitude, and then here it is on the map. Now of course, this one can be found on the left side of the map. Now this rat hole is also one of my other favorites on here, just because it's such an awkward one to raid. Now if you come over here and you find these little horn tentacle weird looking things, and you go right under them, there is a rat hole. Now this rat hole is extremely hidden, like you cannot see this even from now until you get inside. Now it's not the biggest rat hole, however if you are a smaller tribe, this works for an amazing rat hole. It's a bit of an awkward build in here because everything really is kind of all wonky and all over the place, so as long as you're fine with that, it'll make for a good spot. And then you can maybe even span some like cliff platforms or something out on the front, or maybe just keep it on the inside, but interior defending for this one is actually a little bit tricky. Coming at number 2, this can be found at 79.1 latitude and 38.8 longitude, and then here it is on the map. Now this rat hole can be found over here in the bottom kind of rightish corner in the middle of the map. So over here, as you can see, there is this nice little pillar kind of looking thing. In the middle of the pillar is a pretty crazy rat hole. Now there's actually 4 of these on the map, but I just decided to only put one of them because putting 4 of these would just kind of be a bit of a mess and wouldn't really make sense. So I just put the best one that I could find. But anyways, as you can see with this rat hole, you have to walk up here into this nice, very, very tiny little crouch entrance. Then once you're in here, you are entered into the first room. The first room is pretty flat and has a decent amount of room for all of your stuff. And then you're entered into the second room, which is also another crouch entrance. Now this is the main room. Yes, it's not huge, so if you're a smaller tribe, it's perfect for you. But as long as you can fit everything in here and then build some good exterior like base defense stuff, like a turret wall or some cliff turret towers or something, it'll make for an amazing spot. Coming at number 1, this can be found at 52.3 latitude and 67.7 longitude, and then here it is on the map. And finally, we have one that can be found on the right side of the map. Now this one can be found over here in the middle part of the map, right here. And if you don't know, and if you somehow don't know what this is by far one of the most popular rat holes on this entire map that for some reason still is not patched. So if you come over here and you walk up to this entrance, it doesn't look like much until you're up on the side of it. As you can see, you can literally just fall right into the spot. Now yes, technically this is a mesh spot, but it makes for an amazing rat hole as you have tons of room, it's super flat, and it's very, very difficult to raid. Plus the ARK devs will literally never fix this. But anyways, that's it for today's video. We hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a like if you're new and hit that subscribe button, and thanks for watching.